Welcome to 29th of January Daily Decodes, and I hope everyone is doing very well. Welcome to morning and good morning to everyone. I hope audio and video is clear to everyone. So audio and video is clear to everyone. Good morning. So welcome to 29th January 2025. And before I proceed further, the one program which you should join of Insights IAS, which is the one of the topmost programs. There are multiple programs, but this is also one of the best program, that is OGP, Online and Offline Guidance Program. And that is a trademark program of Insights IAS, in which we cover GS, CSAT, essay. It's a full-fledged integrated classroom program for fresher under the guidance of Vinay Sir, who is the founder and director of Insights IAS. For all details, you can also scan this QR code. And this course is starting on 6th February 2025, and this is the batch 2, and it would be happening in Bangalore. It would be happening in Bangalore, this OGP 2026 program batch 2. So you can take enrollment in it. You can also call on the number or you can go to the Insights website. You will all get details from there also. So for the thought for the day is dreams don't work unless you do. It's a wonderful quote that it's good to dream. Hi Sharath, hi everyone. It's good to dream, but if you don't work on your dreams, nothing will happen. Everybody wants to become an IAS officer, IPS officer, Indian Foreign Services, and so on and so forth in different fields. Not only civil services, but other exams which are taken by UPSC, or if someone wants to become big in business or someone wants to become a sports person, until unless you put an effort to make those dreams happen, nothing will work. Just having reveries or just having daydreaming, that is not going to help. You need to put an effort. You need to put an effort on the ground so that the magic happens, and magic will only convert dreams to things you do. You need, whatever you are thinking, you need to put a plan to it, and once you make a plan, you need to implement that plan on the ground. Once you start implementing that plan on the ground, the magic will happen. So this is a very short and a crisp message to everyone. Okay, coming to today's important news. First important news is Prime Minister likely to visit US to deepen ties, says Trump. That is Prime Minister Modi. It's a statement which was given by Trump in a press conference. I think he was in the US plane, Air Force One, if I'm correct. And there he said that, if I'm correct, but most probably in a press conference he said that the Prime Minister Modi would be traveling somewhere in February to meet Donald Trump. Next important news is that, and this news is also important in terms of a long statements have been given by Donald Trump, like what is he expecting out of India in terms of Quad, also in terms of security also. Second important news is Supreme Court journey reflects, this is the 75 years journey, they are celebrating silver jubilee, reflects evolution in rights and reach, says CGI. Okay. Next important news is replace regular table salt with lower sodium salt and with more potassium content. If the potassium content in your salt is good, it is better for against cardiovascular diseases. And potassium, if you've heard of this salt called rock salt, or in Hindi it is called sendha namak. So sendha namak it's called, in English it is called rock salt. That has a very high potassium content. So you can use that. So replace regular table salt with lower sodium salt, WHO. WHO is saying this, our our ancestors, or for that matter, our grandparents and parents have been saying this for a very long period of time. In editorial, we have ASER report which says success in the classroom, classroom education, and there has been very important positive impacts of new education policy. We'll talk about it. And in prelims decode, we'll talk about Quad, which is obviously related to first topic, because Trump focus on Quad is very important. Rather, when he became the president, when on 20th of January he took the he became officially the second presidency, started the first important foreign affairs meeting which happened was related to Quad. Quad stands for Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. So let's move towards the first news. Modi likely to visit US to deepen ties, says Trump. So Prime Minister is expected to visit Washington DC in February as per the announcement by the US President Donald Trump. And this was announced by Donald Trump in a press conference. So obviously when the President of America is saying that, there's a lot of value and a lot of weightage to it. So leader held a telephonic conversation also discussing regional security, trade relation and Indo-Pacific cooperation. So on many important matters, Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi spoke. So Prime Minister Modi had also given him a call when he had won the election, but that was more for a congratulatory mode. But after, after taking over the presidential seat, now this was the first phone call, official phone call between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi, in which focus was on regional security. Migration also was a very important thing, and trade relation. Since migration was a very important topic for Donald Trump for winning the election, so he has raised that some around 17,000 to 18,000 illegal migration or illegal Indians have been there, illegal in terms of immigrants, and we need to deport them. And the statements have already come from External Affairs Minister, and from India that if you are deporting them, we are ready to accept it and there is no problem. Because obviously, if we are saying that Rohingyas have illegally entered in India, or Bangladeshis have illegally entered in towards northeast, rather than lot of illegal Bangladeshis are in Delhi and area around Noida. Okay, so if we say that we want to deport them, same rule and law applies to us also. Okay, so if Indians have illegally entered America, they should be deported. There is no doubt about it. If they have legally gone and they have all the papers, they have the right to stay there. So the law which applies to India, if someone illegal is entering, the same will apply to Indians if they're illegally entering somewhere else. So Trump pushed for America First trade policies as a new dimension to the bilateral ties, because when he came for the first time presidency, that is in 2016, the mandate was not so big for Donald Trump. It was his new presidency. He was learning the tricks of the trade and the game. And this time he has won in majority. He has got a majority in Senate, House of Representatives, and his campaign was Make America Great Again. And he's got the backing of the tech bros, including Elon Musk, though right now he's having a little bit of problems with Elon Musk on artificial intelligence, but I think they will take care of that. That is their politics. But with this kind of mandate and making America great again, this trade and tariff wars is something which he did in the last time also, but this time he would be doing it with much more ferocity. Okay, and he would be much more furious behind it. So White House statement emphasizes expanding and deepening cooperation on regional security in Indo-Pacific, Middle East and Europe. That would be the focus. And when you speak about Indo-Pacific, that is countering China. When you talk about Middle East, that is Hamas, Houthi, Hezbollah and Iran. And Europe, obviously, when they talk about Europe, that is that Russian interference or Russia, what they did in Ukraine, it should not expand. Okay, and now Europe has also focusing on expanding on its security. Denmark is putting more money for buying more security measures. That for Denmark it is obviously more important, because Donald Trump has said to Denmark that by hook or by crook, I want Greenland, and I don't think so Denmark would be very much interested in giving Greenland. So they are also spending a lot on their security now. So India is set to host the first Quad Leaders Summit, marking a significant step in the Indo-Pacific diplomacy. Both leaders reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening the US-India strategic partnership. I think that will definitely happen, that both leaders will strengthen it. And India, US, I've maintained this earlier also, I've told you this many times before also, that even if Joe Biden or the Democrats would have come, so it's not that the entire relationship of India and America would have changed. More than 80 to 90% would have continued, because India is a very important partner. With Trump, the focus will be a lot on India. Okay, he will force India, and he will, I shouldn't say force, but it would be like quid pro quo, that he will say, see, when you talk about, around India has, more than $120 billion of trade with the Americans. Okay, highest trade. Now, when we are doing this kind of trade and we are in trade surplus with America, so Trump might say, see, you are in trade surplus. Okay, you are doing good trade with us. You are good guys, we like you. He's very clear that, we like you, but you're putting a lot of tariff on our goods. That is one thing which you need to work upon. And I think India, the news which is coming from a lot of sources, that Indians have already started making a plan that on what all goods we can reduce the tariffs or taxes. Second important thing is that we have bought, $1 billion of worth of security armaments and military armaments from America. But there is something which America feels the pain. And that America feels the pain is that you have not taken any fighter jet from us. So they might want to push a fighter jet, and I think in February when Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi meet, I think the sale of a fighter jet might be on a card, because India is looking to buy around 112 to 114 fighter jets. That is MMRCA program, that is Medium Multi-Role Combat Aircraft, and the squadrons of Indian Air Force have been depleted. We currently need to have 42 squadrons of the Indian Air Force. One squadron has 18 aircrafts. Currently, our strength is somewhere around 30. And even if we start building our own aircraft, it will take a lot of time. And Tejas, we are still dependent upon 404 and 414 engines, which needs to come from America, which needs to be deployed in Tejas. Now, that is one problem of Tejas, and we need around 112, 114 MMRCA fighters. So Trump might be pushing on this, that you buy these fighters from us. We have got wonderful fighters. We've got F-35, F-21, F-15 Eagle we have got, Super Hornet from Boeing we have. So they have multiple fighter jets. So they might push on this, because if that happens, that would be a deal worth 15 or 20 billion dollars, and that will show Trump would be able to prove to America that in India we are having got a good balancing relationship. They are also doing trade with us. They are also buying our things, and we are also buying our things. So this is what something, some kind of formula might be worked out so that things works on. Okay. So yes, Bhuvan has given some statements. Sir, India-US relations are still unpredictable, but I feel the benefit could be lower compared to our eastern countries' relation. Sir, also our MQ-9 Predator trio was completed in October. Yes, MQ-9, that are Predator drones, but I think Trump would be focusing on buying more security things from the Americans, and that is a statement he has given. So Trump called for a fair bilateral trading relationship. See, currently we have a trade surplus, so he might be saying that, that we also buy a lot of American things. It can be in terms of oil and gas also in the future, because the Americans would be doing a lot of drilling now. So he emphasized increased procurement of American security equipment by India, and I've shared a picture with you in which you see Major Gaurav Arya. So in one of his videos, he's talking about that there are 4 important jets. So among these 4 important jets, one is this is your F-21. So F-21 is basically F-16, and which was upgraded with new software and everything. And Americans might be pushing this one to, that they want India to purchase this. But India might not buy this, because Indians have already said that we are not interested in F-21. Maybe this is, you upgraded the aircraft, but again, F-21 is just the upgraded version of F-16, and Pakistan also have F-16. Second is F-35. This is a 5th generation fighter aircraft. This is a superb aircraft. So probably India might go on to buy for this. Third important one is this one. This is F-15 Eagle. It's a wonderful and fantabulous fighter jet. And as per many Air Force veterans, this is also a very wonderful fighter jet. The fourth one is this is Hornet of Boeing. This is also in the card. So among these 1, 2, 3, 4, we might buy one of those things, might buy one of these fighter jets. But the ones which we should not be going is for F-21, because F-21 is just the upgraded version of F-16. Pakistan has F-16s, which we should focus should be on 5th generation F-35, because China also has J-35, and J-35 was basically made on the stolen technology of F-35 only. So we can buy F-35 or F-15 Eagle or Super Hornet Boeing. So this is SH Super Hornet Boeing. So we can go for this one. But among these 4, F-35 and F-15 Eagle would be wonderful fighter jets. This deal might be around $20-25 billion. Let's see if this finalizes. This is all speculation. And from me, and this is also many geopolitical experts like Major Gaurav Arya sir is also talking about this. Okay. Now moving further into this, once I have told you about this deal which is expected, Trump calls for a fair, this we have done. Trump signaled tougher trade policy, stating we are going to tariffs on outside countries. He specifically mentioned China, India, Brazil are major tariff imposing countries, and if the tariff continues, we would also be putting a lot of tariff on these countries. But I think with India, India knows the quid pro quo game. India also knows the barter system very well. We would be able to find a solution to this problem, which I feel. Okay, so this stance may affect India's trade relation, particularly in key sectors, because if you take about our IT, in IT we are making the maximum amount of business is in $1 billion is with Americans. We make a huge amount of money with Americans because we supply software and a lot of software related technology, coding and everything to Americans and make a good amount of money. So this is something which Donald Trump will take a talk also on his cards, that if you are making so much of money with from your IT firms in trading with our IT companies, you also need to buy something. So this is something which would be also in the cards when the Donald Trump meeting happen. Next is Quad Foreign Ministers meeting is expected. India couldn't do in 2024. It would be happening in 2025 in India. So the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting happened on Washington DC on January 21st. That is 20th he takes charge, 21st this meeting happens, with India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar attending. The upcoming Quad Leaders Summit will be hosted for India for the first time, reinforcing India's central role in Indo-Pacific security. And among all the Quad countries, please understand that India is the only country which actually shares border with China. None of these countries are sharing border with China. Neither Australia, neither Japan and America is far, far away. So India becomes the most important country from the point of view of China +1 strategy also. India is very important. So these are certain lines which have been given, certain facts related to what is Quad. So Quad is, and this basically focuses on that, there should be free sea lanes of communication, trade should happen smoothly in Indo-Pacific region. So it's a strategic forum comprising 4 countries, that is America, Australia, Japan and India. It is aimed at promoting regional security and economic cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region. And when we talk about Indo-Pacific region and regional security, the threat comes only from one country, that as of now, that is from China. There might be other activities also, illegal activities like pirates and smuggling and drug trafficking, etc. But major focus on regional security is China as of now. If some other country comes in the future, we might also be looking towards them. So 4 countries share a common interest in maintaining free and open Indo-Pacific, promoting democracy, human rights, rule of law, countering China's expanding influence in the region. They never deliberately in their policies write China, though Joe Biden in the last summit and meeting wanted that China should be deliberately mentioned, but India is not agreeing to that. Okay, so the idea of Quad was first mooted by Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Okay, Shinzo Abe in 2007, but at that time in 2007, Australia was pressurized by China. Initially, Australia was interested in joining the Quad, but eventually this could not happen. It was in late 2017, it was finally in 2017, India, Australia, US and Japan came together and formed this quadrilateral coalition, and the credit must be given to Donald Trump. Credit must be given where it's due, and it was the forceful impact, it was the energy behind the energy which came from Donald Trump, that otherwise it was lying in the limbo. Okay. So this is your Quad basic information. Now coming back to the news, Trump administration focusing on immigration, H-1B visas and tariff remains crucial for India. So India would also be having some pointers in which, see, when you sit on the table, you will put your points, Americans will put their points, and eventually you will come to a balanced solution, balanced answers. We talk about balanced diet, so somewhere probably it might happen, America might agree to give 60%, India might agree to give 40%. Not every time you can have 50-50. If it happens, that is wonderful in barter system, but even if it is like 51-49, 55-45, that is workable in terms of give and take. So India's issue are related to immigration, H-1B visas and tariffs. Trade policies and potential tariffs could impact Indian exports to US. So now in 2024, the total trade between India and United States was $118.2 billion, with India having a trade surplus of $36.8 billion. So this is a stat of one of the news, but many other reports were also telling that with America, we had crossed more than $120 billion of trade with the Americans. So despite economic tensions, India's role in Quad and regional security cooperation remains a strong pillar of engagement. See, Americans need India, there is no doubt about it. And India needs America, there is also no doubt about it. We need their technology, we need America is one of the biggest markets in the world, so we need their market, we need their technology, and we also need their investment. Similarly, America also needs India to counter China. India is also a very important market for them. So it's like, both of them need each other as of now. In future decades, it might be, things might change. But as of now, it makes sense that both the countries come together for a lot of things, and specifically as the China grows. China's one single app, which is made less than $6 million or around $6 million, DeepSeek, has already created havoc and mayhem in the entire technology world. So this is something to be think about, that if China can do it, India can also do it. For that matter, India should learn from these two countries, America and China. And if China is so rampaging on the AI technology, America will need a partner to support in their growing ambitions. Okay. So in conclusion, PM anticipated US bids signals a deepening strategic partnership between India and US. It was already a very important relationship, but see, when Donald Trump came, so he knows what is generally whenever an American new president comes, his focus is on visiting European countries first. But here, American president is very clear, like who are my allies, from where I will get the business and everything. So he is focusing on that. Trump focus on an America first policies, tariff and immigration restriction. That might be challenges to the economic ties, but I think India and America should be able to work out something on this, and the Quad summit will solidify Indo-Pacific security cooperation. Okay. So moving towards the next important news, Supreme Court journey reflects evolution in rights and reach, says CGI. Okay, so Chief Justice of India, Sanjeev Khanna, on since Supreme Court is celebrating the Silver Jubilee, that is 75 years, the closure of not Silver Jubilee, Diamond Jubilee. I think earlier I said Silver Jubilee, not Silver Jubilee, Diamond Jubilee. So speaking at the ceremonial marking the closure of Supreme Court Diamond Jubilee year, highlighted three major challenges that Supreme Court has been able, rather an important statement which came from Sanjeev Khanna sir was that Supreme Court has navigated so many things in India, so many cases and so many issues that no court in the world has been able to do that, or has got these problems which were very unique to India. But he said that we have come with very important legislations, but still three important challenges which court faces is pendency of cases. This is a huge amount of problem, and majority of the pending cases are lying at the state level, okay, state and district level. Second important issue is rising litigation cost. So it becomes very people with under poverty or poor people, they do not have the resources, or people with less amount of money, they don't have the resources to fight or to do litigation. Practice of falsehood, that is practice of lying, falsehood has entered the advocacy, it has entered the litigation, and that is not good for the system. System is getting corrupt. It's not that it was not corrupted, the excessive corruption is increasing. So he emphasized that while the Supreme Court has evolved significantly over 75 years, but the major problem lies at the district and state level, that means at the High Court level, which needs to be resolved. So three important problems which was identified was, first, the pendency of cases. Backlog of cases continues to delay justice, and as they say, delayed justice is denied justice. Okay, if you're getting, if something wrong happened with you today and you are getting justice after 25 years, it actually does not make any sense. You might have got the justice, but by that time in the 25 years, probably you have died, or for the person you wanted justice, or for yourself, or the person who should be, who was accused, he himself or she has died, then this all goes for a vain. Because, in justice, it is very important that the justice should be given at an apt time, other it becomes denied in nature. So this questions the efficiency of the judicial system. Second important issue is the high litigation cost. Rising legal expenses threaten accessibility to justice. That means people, if they want to use legal framework to address their issues, but if they don't have money or they come under poverty, they are poor, they are not able to afford it. So this is the second major challenge. And third major challenge is prevalence of falsehood. That is falsehood is practice undermining the very foundation of fair trials and judicial credibility. So falsehood, lies have entered the system, and that questions the credibility of the system, that questions the credibility of people who are practicing law. So these are the three major problems: pendency of cases, falsehood, and the third one, high litigation cost. So these are three important challenges which Supreme Court said that we need to fight. But even apart from that, Supreme Court in 75 years have been able to stick to the foundation of upholding justice, both principle and practical, ensuring constitutional promise of social and economic and political justice. And if we see over the time the kind of decision making which Supreme Court has done, some of them have been a very landmark judgments which have changed the way how India has functioned and which has led to very positive change in the country. So, for example, he has said that in the coming 21st century, the role of Supreme Court would be expanded, and some of the important things, no other the Supreme CGI said was no other apex court in the world, that is like our Supreme Court and similarly to other countries, has navigated wide range of issues like personal liberty, privacy to environmental protection and intellectual property rights. For that, he also said that even when it came to digital rights, Supreme Court has put his foot forward in that. He has also said that when it came to electoral democracy, the voters' right to information about candidate, expanding freedom of expression, this was also done by Supreme Court. Then dismantled gender stereotype, gender equality in workplace, and women getting the CO role in the armed forces, women getting permanent commission in the forces, women entering the forces. All this, many major steps have been taken by Supreme Court in women empowerment and gender parity, recognizing digital rights, which I just told, as a critical aspect of constitutional protection was done, ensuring online free speech and privacy, broadened affirmative action and policies by incorporating economic criteria, addressing modern forms of disadvantage. So from economic criteria to digital rights to women empowerment and fighting multitude problems and giving positive judgments on them, which is guiding the society. These major steps have been taken by Supreme Court. So if a question comes related to Supreme Court that what have been some of the major achievements, apart from mentioning the acts, these are some of the pointers which you can take for your answers. And since they have been given by CGI, it becomes even more important. So Supreme Court has played a pivotal role in strengthening India's economic landscape by ensuring legal clarity, efficiency and fairness. Obviously, landmark judgments related to IBC, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, Arbitration and Conciliation Act, alternative dispute resolution mechanism, improving economic grievances. So in economic grievances they have worked, in social grievances they have worked, social issues, empowering women they have worked, technology, digital they have worked, and giving landmark judgments from Ayodhya to many Waqf, so from Ayodhya to, for that matter, Article 370, they have given landmark judgments, and for that matter, since Article 370, eventually the case went to the Supreme Court, and Waqf is also going on. In conclusion, Supreme Court journey over the past 75 years highlights evaluation in protecting fundamental rights, ensuring social justice, adapting to modern legal challenges. Challenges of pendency, litigation cost and falsehood. These are the three current challenges. So there has been lot of things Supreme Court has been able to achieve, but the three challenges, it might come as a question, what are the major challenges which Supreme Court faces today? So you definitely need to mention these three changes because they have been spoken on Diamond Jubilee, 75 years of celebration. So please do, very important, falsehood, pendency and the litigation cost. Pendency is number of number of cases which are pending in court. The court's ability to address these concerns will shape India's role in constitutional and judicial future. Okay. Okay. So again, so the court ability to address these concerns, these are the concerns: pendency, litigation, and falsehood. When it comes to pendency, around 5.1 crore cases are pending in the courts in India, and majority of the cases are pending at the level of state high court and lower courts. So next, coming to MCQ, Supreme Court has expanded the scope of freedom of expression by including right to information about electoral candidates, correct? It has played a role in recognizing digital rights as a constitutional protection, correct? Supreme Court has introduced, this is online free speech they are talking about. So the Supreme Court has introduced economic criteria into affirmative action policies to address modern forms of disadvantage. All the three statements are correct. This is a typical UPSC prelims question. Okay, so all the three statements are correct. So the court has extended constitutional safeguards to digital rights, including online free speech and privacy. Moving to important mains question. Supreme Court of India has undergone a significant transformation in the past 75 years, expanding its role in various domains. Discuss the key challenges it faces today and how it has contributed to India's social, political, and economic landscape. So wonderful question, you can go through it, and I've given you a certain set of expected line of answer also. Okay, now moving to the next important news, that is replace regular table salt with lower sodium salt substitute that contain potassium. So focus is on changing your salt, because if you are using, NaCl, if you are using salt based on sodium chloride, the problem is that if you continue to use that salt, and in India we have a tendency to add an extra bit of salt for that masala taste which is good on our tongue. So which is good on our tongue, but it is bad for your cardiovascular or heart. It will basically increase your heart problem. So which is good for on your tongue, it is not good for your heart. So WHO has released a new set of guidelines recommending the replacement of regular table salt with lower sodium salt substitutes containing potassium. Potassium content should be higher. Okay, so but potassium content higher salt is not good for people which might be having problems related to kidney. Okay, because they will not be able to process it. So this move is aimed at reducing sodium intake to curb cardiovascular diseases and strokes. There was a campaign also, if you remember, if I am correct, the campaign was led by Rajkumar Rao. I think it was last year or 2023-2024, that where he was taking that we need to use less salt, because if your salt is high in your, if you're using too much of salt, then the problem of stroke, cardiac arrest, heart attack and cardiovascular diseases will increase. So recommendation applies to adults but exclude pregnant women, children and individuals with kidney impairments because of potassium excretion. So if people who have these kidney problems, if the potassium is very high, the body will not be able to process it. Okay. It will lead to something called hyperkalemia. Okay. It will lead to something called hyperkalemia, in which the kidneys aren't able to remove the excess potassium from the blood, and that leads to the problem of hyperkalemia. And that is why if you have kidney impairments or kidney problems, then potassium, high amount of potassium might not be good for your body. So health impact of salt consumption: sodium and water travel together in the body. Okay. So if the excess salt is there, excess salt leads to water retention, increasing blood pressure. So if you are taking too much of salt, then it will lead to water retention, and if there is higher water retention in your body, you will have blood pressure problem. So reducing sodium intake lowers blood volume. So very simple, sodium and water are flowing in your system. Okay, if the sodium, that is salt, increases in your body, water retention also increases in your body. When water retention increases in your body, that increases blood pressure. So if you reduce sodium intake, obviously the blood retention will also reduce, which will lower blood volume, decreasing cardiovascular risk and stroke chances. So it is like, so less sodium, less water retention. Less water retention means the blood flow would be normal, which would be good for your health. Otherwise you will have problems, cardiovascular problems. So high sodium intake is linked to 1.9 million deaths annually as part of 8 million diet related deaths worldwide. So that is the impact of salt. So that is why people, if you see they are having excess salt, it's not good. Already what we are using in fast food and other things which we eat, they have a lot of excess of sugar and food depending upon what you are they have excess of sugar and salt depending upon whatever you are eating. So we should be eating very less fast food or this specifically the processed foods like chips and everything, which is not good for body. So high sodium levels contribute to non-communicable diseases like cardiovascular diseases, chronic kidney disease and gastric cancer also. Lowering sodium reduces blood pressure and decreasing CVD risk. So your cardiovascular diseases risk will come down if your sodium salt content decreases. So guideline propose replacing NaCl sodium chloride with KCl, that is potassium chloride, in household salt. The report does not talk about that for the food consumed outside the home like packaged foods or for that matter processed foods. It has not told anything about that, but yes, they are even more dangerous than the NaCl which is used at home. So potassium chloride, so it is saying that replace NaCl with KCl, that is your potassium chloride. So policymaker, health professionals and program managers must be encouraged and they should disseminate it. And obviously a campaign was also done by the government, I think 1 or 2 years back, in which I think Rajkumar Rao was there, the actor. So we similarly dissemination programs can be taken. I told in the start of the lecture also today, like which we use Sendha Namak, which is also called rock salt in English. Now rock salt has higher potassium content which is good for your body. So WHO is talking about this. Our generations, our ancestors have been using Sendha Namak or so rock salt for ages. Now rock salt is also used in Vrat, that is the fasting. So in fasting also, sometimes when you use, for example in Navratras, when you in Navratras people eat in evening, one time they eat in evening. So the salt they use is most of the time Sendha Namak or this rock salt. So rock salt can be used, it's very good. So the more implementation and dissemination of that should be done. So India has a high tendency to add extra salt to the food, and that will create more blood pressure and cardiovascular problem. So behavioral change strategies need to be there, like making sodium salt affordable and accessible to population level, because the rock salt is a little bit more expensive compared to your normal NaCl salt. Okay, so and people have been using a habit of using the white salt or NaCl for a very long period of time, and mostly the local dhabas and restaurants that is only used because rock salt seems to be expensive. So the people habit need to change, industry need to change, then only this will be effective. So risk for individual with undiagnosed kidney diseases exist, as the excess potassium can be harmful because that might lead to a problem called hyperkalemia, because they would not be able, these kidneys might not be able to process your potassium, the excess potassium from the blood, leading to cardiovascular problems. So that is something, if you are having kidney problems, try to avoid that potassium salt. So WHO push for lower sodium salt substitutes, significant public health intervention to reduce CVDs, cardiovascular disease related disease. While India has high salt consumption culture, expert caution against risk for individual kidney impairments. And at the end of the day, it's a good news, but eventually even if people need to know about using the potassium chloride based salts, government can put some kind of campaign regarding this so that awareness increases. Let's move towards a question. WHO recommends replacing sodium chloride in all processed and packaged foods, not processed food and packaged foods. They are only talking about what we are using at home. The guideline excludes individuals with kidney impairments due to concerns over potassium excretion. Correct statement. High sodium intake is a major contributing factor to cardiovascular diseases, chronic kidney disease. Correct. So second and third statement are correct. B is the correct answer to this question. IPM test series 2026, this is starting on, rather this has already started on 25th January. You can take admission in this. This is IPM 1.0, that is integrated prelims plus mains, prelims come mains test series. And in this there are 106 tests, 54 tests are there, 38 GS and 16 CSAT. In mains you've got 52 tests, 42 GS and 10 essays. And for all details you can also call in the number 8069 40 5205, and for OGP 1 program and all the other programs related to UPSC at Insights IAS, you can get all the details from here. You can also scan the QR code for all the details. F-15 Eagle is a proven warbird. Yes, F-15, that is why veterans loved that Bhavan. We would greatly benefit with its induction in the Air Force. Supreme Court is doing a great service to the nation. 75 years of delivering judgment, shaping Indian law and protecting natural justice is a huge achievement. Yes, Rajkumar Rao achievement, advertisement, correct. So he is very correct when Bhavan, when F-15 Eagle is a proven air warrior, proven warbird. It's a wonderful statement which is given by Bhavan. He is absolutely correct. F-35 is definitely a superb fifth generation, but I think India might go for F-15 Eagle because lot of air veterans and air warriors from India, their choice is more towards specifically countering China and Pakistan in the current context, might be focusing more on F-15 Eagle. So let's see eventually what they will take, and if the deal happens for that matter. Let's move towards the editorial. So in the editorial, we have taken it from Indian Express. This is related to ASER report success in the classroom. So wonderful report has come. Why I say wonderful? Positive report. So ASER stand for Annual Status of Education Report 2024, and the report is positive because it says that a strong recovery in foundational learning skill has happened post-pandemic period, because in pandemic period the foundation skills were deteriorating and it had come down, but now the recovery in foundation learning skills among school children in India post-pandemic has happened. Very positive development. So this is a positive development, especially after the COVID-19 induced. There was a huge amount of learning loss because students were not able to go to the school, and whatever you say, online education have limitation, specifically at the level of school when the maturity is less. And secondly, school is very important from the point of view of a real-time interaction, in terms people interacting physically with each other. Lot of things which you learn from your peers when you meet and sit with them. So that is very different from online education, where you cannot even control that the person is sitting in front of the camera, or he just pasted some photograph, or he has not allowed the camera or audio. So you don't know he's actually interacting with people. So peer-to-peer group interaction, person-to-person interaction, overall communication development, personality development, that only happens, specifically I'm talking about school, when you have one-to-one interaction. You can talk to teachers, you can talk to your friends, you play games, you do extracurricular activities. So this is very important. So at the time of pandemic, this foundation learning skills had dropped during the school, but because schools were majorly closed and this was only online. But now, as per the ASER report of 2024, the Annual Status of Education Report 2024, there has been a good amount of recovery. The report attributes progress largely to government schools initiative and teacher training efforts under the new education policy 2020. So NEP is finally reaping important fruits, positive fruits. But there are certain challenges. One of the important challenges, post-training support. You have given the training support to teachers, but sometimes in school there are some specific needs. Some students, one teaching formula will not apply to everyone. So post-training support is needed for specific problems related to that school. And balancing syllabus completion, because still there is a problem that focuses much more on completing these syllabus completion. See, the empathization and sympathization by teachers have increased. They are much more empathizing to students compared to our days, definitely, and they are much more understanding. But a problem which still exists is completing the syllabus. And when your focus is on completing the syllabus, the learning is not important. Your focus is just complete the syllabus, prepare for the exam, and in that learning suffers. So this is a two major problem, post-training and balancing syllabus. But except these two factors, majorly they have been able to achieve a lot of things. So classrooms have rebounded significantly with better foundational learning outcomes than even pre-pandemic levels. So the 2023 economic survey warned of a widening gap in class standards and actual learning levels, making this recovery even more crucial. So 2023 economic survey has told that the current levels of education, specifically the pandemic period and when it just got over, was not good, and there was a huge problem related to class standards and actual learning levels. So NEP 2020 emphasis on foundational literacy and numeracy, that is FLN. Foundation literacy and numeracy, it is also called FLN, for children in class 3 is yielding results, and finally we are moving towards a positive direction. So government schools are leading in this. Public schools have played a central role in improving literacy and numeracy skills. Teacher training programs are finally giving the yielded and foundational learning skills result. So despite differences in NEP implementation across states, some implementing in better emphasized manner, some implementing less, but eventually NEP is getting universally adopted in the country. There might be differences in how state are going on. Two major problem is this one size fits all pedagogical approach and classroom varying student background and learning, and second is teaching methodology still need flexibility. So the problem is that teachers have become empathetic to students' needs, but methodology is same. Like what I'm using a formula for the 5 toppers of the class, I'm applying the same to the remaining students. So probably a average student or a below average student might not be able to pick it up. So the strategy, one strategy fits all might not be able to work, which is working in one classroom and one school cannot be applied to others. So different methodologies needs to be worked out. So problem which happens is that if you do different methodologies or a pedagogy, then you also have a problem of completing the syllabus. Since you want to focus on completing the syllabus, you stick to one size fits all. So this is the problem, that your focus is on completing the syllabus, and since completing the syllabus, you are applying the same formula again and again. That might not be workable for everyone in the classroom. That is something, the problems which needs to work about. So schools focus on ensuring foundational learning for all children. That's good. Yet they are pressurized to complete the syllabus. This is what I'm talking about. Meaningful learning will not happen. Lack of post-training support for teachers prevent them from fully adapting to classroom specific challenges. Okay. So over 100 million children are currently in the foundation learning stage. The education quality will directly impact India's demographic dividend, which will remain open only for another 15 years. Why demographic dividend? Because demographic dividend is that your work, that particular age group. For example, if I say 17 or 18 years to 30 years or 35 years, that population which will go and work. The population which will go and work in the field, that is the population dividend, and it's important they get good education, then only they will be giving you dividend, that is profits. So policymaker must address gaps in teacher support, and then we'll have a solution to this. So policymaker must not overlook the remaining challenges, that is supporting teachers beyond training and solving this pedagogy problem and resolving the syllabus learning contradictions. Once this is over, then that is more development. So ASER report indicates foundational literacy and numeracy levels in schools have improved post-pandemic. Correct? New education policy focused on ensuring universal foundation literacy, numeracy for children in class 3. No, not class 6, it's 3. The pressure to complete the syllabus often contradict efforts to strengthen foundation learning in the school. That is correct. So 1 and 3 are correct. C is the correct answer to this question. So we have a mains question also. ASER 2024 report highlights a significant recovery in foundational learning skills post-pandemic. Discuss the factors contributing to this progress and the challenges remain ensuring long-term improvement in India's education system. Two major changes which we see right now is the teacher training program, and the second important is that syllabus completion and pedagogy issues which we need to, or teaching methodology which we need to work about. So I've added some pointers for your answers also. In extra mile, you can go through impact of classifying denotified tribes. You can also follow ICANN on the channel. And thank you very much. I hope you learned a lot of things today. Okay. Thank you. We will meet tomorrow. Take care and Jai Hind. And please also like the session, share the session, and most importantly, share in our WhatsApp and other places and ask your friends to join this.